Four financial pre-retirement regrets. Number one, I retired when I was 59 and I started saving money when I was about 40. If I would have saved in my 20s or even my 30s, I would have been so much better off than I am now. I waited way too long. Why did I wait so long? Well, number one, when I was 20, I was still working a little bit, not too much, low-paying job. I went back to school when I was 26 at UCLA. After that, I went to Berkeley to get my MBA. So I didn't really get out of school until I was 30. But when I was 30 and I started the music industry, what was I thinking, man? I didn't even take advantage of the company match 401k. What was I thinking? What were you thinking? I don't know. You tell me. Stupid. If I would have done that in my 30s instead of waiting until I was 40, man, I could have retired a lot early, or I could have waited to retire at 59 with a much bigger nest egg and I wouldn't have to be pressing so much and dipping into my funds in this bad market. Oh, what a big regret. That's a big regret. You know, where I am now, I'm okay. I still was able to retire a little early, but that's a big regret. I should have started way earlier. So guys, start early. Start as early as you can. Number two, over my life so far, I've bought and sold 2 houses. The first house I bought probably about 15 years ago, only had it about a year and a half, and then I've turned it for cash. Excuse me, that's when the market started going up. So I was able to get some pretty good cash after only having it for a year and a half. Got my second house and I loved it. It was up in the Mount Washington area of Los Angeles. If any of you know where that is, you don't feel like you're in the city. It's just an amazing, amazing spot in the middle of Los Angeles, 5 miles east of downtown Los Angeles, Mount Washington. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's amazing. Anyway, I had that house for 10 years. I was in the house for, like I said, I had it for 10 years. After about 8, 9 years, I started thinking, you know, these retaining walls that are holding the hillside back from my house, they're not looking too good. This house was built in either 1929 or 1930, I can't remember. But we're talking about 80 years old. I started getting paranoid. And I was like, okay, now these retaining walls have been here since this house was built. Am I going to take what would have been $100,000, $75,000? I had a guy come out and estimate how much it would cost to repair those retaining walls. Am I going to wait till these things fail and sink $75,000, $100,000 into repairing retaining walls? No. Or can I take that money and save it for retirement? So I sold it in 2011 or 12. Made a little bit of money, not too much. I mean, in the decade since when I bought it, the 10 years up until when I sold it, the market was doing well, but it was just a steady increase. Okay, nothing huge, nothing like crazy. So I sold it in about 2011, made, what did I make? $70,000, $80,000 on it. Not bad, right? Okay. 3 years later, no, excuse me. Yeah, 3 years later, everything started to go boo in Los Angeles. Just crazy, crazy housing increases. 5 years after I sold my house, it had doubled in value. Pooh! Doubled in value. Okay. Now, could I have foreseen this? No. I mean, you know, the Los Angeles market is perpetually going up. If it goes down for a little bit, but then boom, start going right back up. I was so paranoid about these stupid retaining walls coming down on me while I slept and having to sink $100,000 into this per the estimate of a person who builds retaining walls gave me, I sold it. 5 more years, guys, 5 more years. My house would have doubled in value. What do you do? I mean, looking back at it now, yeah, it's a regret, but I'm okay where I'm at, but it could have been a lot better. Number 3, I wish that I had been able to convince my mother to get a reverse mortgage 2 years earlier than she did. My mom unfortunately passed away last April at 91, had a long, great, healthy life. But back about 85 or 84, 85, back about 2015 or 2014, I was trying to convince her to get a reverse mortgage. I didn't really push on it because she was a very independent woman. She made all her own decisions. And my mother worked up until the age of 87 until she had a stroke. Once she had her stroke, you know, things gradually kind of went downhill. Unfortunately, she got dementia. So the last 2 years of her life, from 89 to 91, weren't that good. I just wish I would have been able to convince her to do that reverse mortgage that would have given her 2 more leisure-filled years of life. Because of those 2 years that she delayed doing that, and it's not her fault. You know, she was the kind of person who had to really think things out, and I get it, no blame at all. I just wish I had tried to be more forceful. That would have given her 2 more years of not having to work, even though she enjoyed work. She was a hard worker all her life. Would have given her 2 more years of just leisure-filled happiness. You know, who could have foreseen a stroke coming up? She was in great health. No one. But looking back on it, God, I wish I had just been a little more forceful there. You know, it really bugs me. Anyway, number 4. Number 4, and I don't know what my deal is, but the thing with cars and me, the longest car I've ever owned in my life was back about 25 years ago. I had a Jeep Wrangler for 7 years. Love that thing, man. I was in Los Angeles, so with the weather, I had a hardtop. You leave the hardtop on for 6 months, you take it off for 6 months, and you just store it in the garage. Love that car. Outside of that, the longest I have owned a car is 3 years. And that's okay. If maybe you should lease it, idiot. For some reason, I was adverse to leases. I just held on to them. I just bought it. I wanted it to be mine. The worst instance of this was about 5 years ago. I got a nice little Mazda Miata, pre-owned, about 2 years old. 6 months later, I saw a newer one, and they had totally redesigned the whole body style. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this back because I want that one instead. How stupid is that? How much money did I lose on that? A couple $1,000. I've never held on to a car outside of that Wrangler for more than 3 years. I'm trying to rectify that now in retirement because that would be absolutely very, very stupid thing to do. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter what kind of cars I had. Some were nice, some not so much. 3 years maximum. Why didn't I lease? Why didn't I just lease? I don't know. It's just dumb. Anyway, I'm sure I'll come up with some other ones, guys, but pre-retirement, those are the 4 biggest financial regrets I have. You know, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not complaining, but if I look back on it, it's like, God, man. I mean, and sometimes if you're 30 years old trying to save for 401k, I get it. There was too much stuff going on in the music industry. It's like free concerts, free tickets. You're always going out, spending money on alcohol, chasing after women. I mean, it's just, you know, you're 30. But if I would have just started saving a little bit at 30 instead of waiting till 40. Anyway, those are my regrets. Hope everyone's doing well, and I will talk to you soon, and let's see if my clicker works this time.